Alabi and the Magic Pot. Once upon a time, in the warm, red-hot village of Oran, nestled between whispering forest and gentle hills, there lived a boy named Alabi. Alabi was known all around for his bright eyes that always seemed to search for wonder, and his heart that beat with kindness. Alabi lived with his grandmother, Mama Dora, in a small mud hut that smelled of wood smoke and palm oil. Though they were poor, their hearts were rich with laughter and song. Every morning, Alabi helped Mama Dora pound yam in the mortar, and every evening, he fetched water from the river, humming to the rhythm of frogs and crickets. One sweltering afternoon, as Alabi wandered deeper into the forest than usual in search of firewood, he stumbled upon something strange. Half buried under fallen leaves and twigs was an old clay pot. Its surface was etched with swirling patterns like dancing spirits, and around its neck coiled a faded strip of cloth. Curious, Alabi wiped the pot clean. It shimmered in the dappled sunlight, and he felt a gentle warmth flow through his hands. Just then, a raspy voice echoed in the breeze, "Thank you, kind boy, for setting me free." Startled, Alabi almost dropped the pot. But instead of running, he whispered, Who are you?" "I am a spirit of abundance, sealed away by greed long ago," said the voice, soft as silk yet deep as thunder. "For your kindness, I grant you a gift, place me over fire, and say what you need. But remember, ask only for what you truly need, and share what you receive." Alabi's heart raced. Was this real? He carefully carried the pot home, his mind swelling with heartbroken. Alabi returned to the forest, where he had first found the pot. There, among the roots of an ancient Iroko tree, he fell to his knees and cried, "Spirit, I'm sorry. I could not protect your gift." The breeze stirred, carrying the spirit's gentle voice. "Do not cry, Alabi. You did as I asked, you shared, you loved, you gave. The pot was only a vessel. The true magic was in your kindness and your heart." As the voice faded, Alabi felt warmth on his chest. He looked down to find a new, smaller pot, plain yet warm to the touch. He carried it home, but this time, he asked only when truly needed, and he continued to share with open hands. Years passed, and Alabi grew into a man whose name was known far beyond Oran, not for wealth or power, but for generosity that knew no end. The villagers would say, the magic was never in the pot alone, it lived in Alabi's heart, and in every heart willing to give. Years rode by, as softly and steadily as the river wears down stone. Alabi, once the boy with bright eyes and quick feet, grew into Alabi the young man, tall, broad-shouldered, with a voice that carried calm and a smile that welcomed even the weariest traveler. But though his body changed, Alabi's heart remained the same, still open, still kind, still believing that blessings grew bigger when shared. He still kept a new, small magic pot that the spirit had given him, the pot that whispered warmth into his hands whenever he touched it. But Alabi had learned not to use it for every wish or every want. He asked only when there was true need, when a neighbor's harvest failed, when a widow's children cried from hunger, when the harmattan winds blew cold and the sick needed warm broth. And the pot, faithful as dawn, never failed him. As Alabi grew, so too did his village, Oran. Once, the people had kept to themselves, each family tending only its own hearth. But seeing Alabi's example, they began to share what they had, small though it was, an extra calabash of palm wine, a handful of roasted groundnuts, a bowl of pepper soup on a neighbor's doorstep. And something curious happened. The more they gave, the less anyone seemed to lack. The hungry were fed. The lonely found company. Even the fields, some said, seemed to grow greener, as though the land itself was blessing their generosity. But not everyone's heart had softened. Chief Ayagbajich, now older but no less greedy, still watched from his compound with bitter eyes. He heard the laughter in the village, smelled the rich soups drifting through the air, and his jealousy burned hotter than ever. One night, he sent his guards again to steal Alabi's new pot. They crept into Alabi's hut like shadows. But the moment they laid hands on the pot, it grew heavy, so heavy they could barely lift it. Their arms burned, sweat poured, and finally, with a mighty crack, the pot slipped, hitting the ground. The guards fled in fear, empty-handed, and the pot rolled to Alabi's feet as he stepped from the shadows. Calmly, Alabi picked it up. It was unbroken. And from the darkness, the spirit's voice drifted. A greedy hand gains nothing. A giving hand gains everything. Alabi understood. He placed the pot safely back in its place and offered a prayer of thanks. As years passed, Alabi's name spread far beyond Oran. People came from distant villages to ask for help, to share meals at his table, or simply to sit and listen to his words. Yet Alabi never claimed to be a great man. Whenever asked about his magic, he would smile gently and say, "The true magic was never in the pot. It was always here," and he would touch his chest, over his heart. He taught children that kindness multiplies faster than any spell, that sharing lightens both the giver and the receiver, and that even the poorest among them still had something precious to give. When Alabi grew old, his hair silver as moonlight, the spirit visited him one last time, this time not as a whisper, but as a soft wind swirling before him. "Alabi," the spirit said, "you have lived as I asked, with open hands and a gentle heart. The pot will pass, as all things do, but your kindness will echo long after you are gone." And when Alabi finally left this world, the pot turned to clay once more, resting quietly beside his mat. But the seeds he planted, of generosity, humility, and love, blossomed in every home, every heart, every corner of Oran. Many seasons passed after Alabi's spirit left this world. But in the village of Oran, his story did not fade with the wind, it blossomed, like the stubborn flowers that pushed through even the driest earth. Children grew up hearing of Alabi. The boy who shared every meal, the young man whose kindness never ran dry, and the elder whose words were softer than silk yet stronger than stone. In the cool evenings, as the sun dipped behind the iroko trees and shadows danced on the red earth, the children would gather in circles. Old voices and young voices together, they would retell the story of the magic pot. They spoke of the spirit's warning. Ask only for what you truly need, and share what you receive. They spoke of Alabi feeding the hungry, sheltering travelers, and never turning anyone away, no matter how little he had left. And they would say, with wide-eyed wonder, "But the real magic was here." Each child would tap their chest, just as Alabi had done. One harmattan morning, when the air smelled of dust and old secrets, the villagers gathered under the giant iroko tree, the same place where Alabi had first found the pot. The wind picked up, swirling dry leaves into a gentle dance. And from the rustling branches came the softest whisper. Kindness, once planted, grows forever. You don't need magic to be generous. Every kind word, every shared meal, every gentle hand, these are magic too. Slowly, the whole village learned, abundance was not measured in gold or clay pots, but in laughter, love, and the courage to give even when your own bowl felt half empty. So, dear listener, remember. A pot can break. Gold can vanish. But kindness, once sown, becomes a harvest that never ends. And that is the gift of Alabi. Not clay, not riches, but a story that teaches us. The greatest magic is simply to love, to share, and to keep hope alive.